If you've been watching the financial news lately, you've probably seen this headline. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent called China unruly because of the wild gold market. A lot of people are confused. What does unruly even mean here? Is he talking about the whole country or just something in the markets? And why is gold going absolutely crazy, hitting record highs and then crashing hard? Well, let's talk about it. 大家好，我是 Surant 在中国. Hey everyone, I'm Surant in China. How y'all doing today? I hope you're having a lovely day. I'm having a fantastic day as usual here, and a lot of that is thanks to my fantastic viewers and supporters. Supporting the channel is literally as easy as hitting that subscribe button, and if you like my videos, throw me a thumbs up. It helps more than you might think. Now, let's get on to today's topic. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what Bessent meant, why he said it, what a speculative blow-off is, and we'll even look at some famous market bubbles in history to see the same pattern play out. We will also see why Bessent is not the right person to be throwing around these kinds of accusations. First, let's get one thing straight. When Scott Bessent used the word unruly, he was not talking about China as a country, its government, or its policies. At least I hope not. China is literally the least unruly place I have ever lived. No, he was specifically talking about gold trading activity in China, the extreme, volatile, leveraged buying that sent gold prices parabolic and then caused a sharp crash. Now, this all started in early February 2026. Gold had surged to an all-time high. Then, in just a few days, it dropped sharply. The market was chaotic, with huge price swings every single day. When asked about this on fake news, Fox News, Bessent said, "Things have gotten a little unruly in China." He went on to explain that this wasn't normal, healthy demand for gold, like central banks buying for reserves or people buying physical gold jewelry. This was speculative trading fueled by massive leverage. Traders were borrowing money to bet on gold going higher, and that created a buying frenzy that got out of control. He called this a classical speculative blow-off. Now, you might be thinking, what on earth is a speculative blow-off? Let me explain it in the simplest way possible. A speculative blow-off is when an asset's price spikes super fast. Not because of real long-term value, but because everyone is scared of missing out. FOMO, the fear of missing out. And they're using borrowed money to buy. It's a bubble that inflates so quickly that it can't last. And when it pops, prices crash hard. Let's take a look at the 4 stages of a speculative blow-off so you can spot it in any market. Stage 1 is euphoria. Prices start rising quickly, and everyone thinks it's going to keep going up forever. News covers it non-stop. Your friends are all talking about it, and you feel like you're the only one not making money. Stage 2. Leverage takes over. People don't just use their own cash, they borrow money to buy more. In gold trading, that's things like futures contracts and margin trading, where you put down a small amount of money to control a huge position. This makes the prices go up even faster. Stage 3, the blow-off top. This is the peak. Every single person who wanted to buy has already bought. There are no new buyers left. The market is completely exhausted. And ultimately, stage 4, the crash. Panic sets in. People start selling. People who borrowed money get margin calls. They have to sell immediately to pay back their loans. Everyone rushes for the exit at the same time, and prices collapse. Now, that's exactly what happened in the gold market. And that's what Scott Bessent called unruly. The disorderly, leveraged, out of control trading that caused this boom and bust. To make this even clearer, let's take a look at four of the most famous speculative blowoffs in history. Every single one of them follows the exact same pattern. First up, tulip mania in the 1600s Netherlands. This is the first recorded financial bubble. Tulip bulbs became a status symbol and prices exploded. A single rare tulip bulb sold for more than a house in Amsterdam. People were buying bulbs on credit, betting prices would keep rising. Then, in 1637, the market crashed. Prices dropped 90% in weeks. Thousands of people lost everything. Second, the South Sea bubble in 1720 England. The South Sea Company sold shares with promises of huge profits from trade. The stock price skyrocketed, and everyone from farmers to nobles bought in. Even Sir Isaac Newton lost a fortune. When insiders started selling, the bubble popped. The stock crashed, and the British government had to pass laws to stop future bubbles. Third, the infamous dot-com bubble in the late 90s and early 2000s. Any company with a .com in its name saw its stock soar, even though it had no profits, no customers, and no real business plan. People bought on margin, convinced the new economy meant old rules didn't apply. In 2000, the bubble burst. The Nasdaq crashed 78%, and thousands of companies went bankrupt. Fourth, and most recently, the 2017 Bitcoin bubble. Bitcoin went from $1,000 to nearly $20,000 in a year. Everyone was buying crypto on credit, thinking they'd get rich quick. Then, in 2018, it crashed to around $3,000. Millions of people lost money. All of these are textbook speculative blowoffs, and that's exactly what Scott Bessent saw in the gold market in China. He didn't necessarily call China unruly as an insult. He was describing a market pattern he's seen dozens of times in his career. Now, let's connect this back to the real event. After gold spiked and became volatile, Chinese authorities stepped in to calm the market. They tightened margin requirements, meaning traders had to put up more of their own money and couldn't use as much leverage. They took steps to stabilize trading and stop the disorderly buying. That's a responsible regulatory action. Bessent's point was simple. This gold rally wasn't driven by safe haven demand or long-term investment. It was a short-term, leveraged frenzy that got out of hand. And when that happens, markets become unruly, chaotic, unpredictable, and risky for everyone involved. The big takeaway here is that this is a market story, not a political one. It's about how leverage and FOMO can turn any asset into a bubble, no matter where you are in the world. Every market has moments of excess. The job of regulators is to step in and calm things down, which is exactly what happened here. However, in my personal opinion, I think Mr. Bessent should worry more about his own markets back home, very obviously and dangerously being manipulated by the current regime for the benefit of the ultra-rich and powerful, as opposed to the good of the country. Speculative blowoffs happen and have happened for hundreds of years, but the level of corruption and financial misdeeds being given a blind eye by Mr. Bessent are not just unruly, but absolutely criminal. So what do you think? Should Scott Bessent and the rest of America be making claims about other countries and other issues when not even dealing with their own? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And thanks as always for joining me today, and we will see you in the next video. Zai Jen.